Let's address some common misconceptions about dogs, especially the ones coming from KN1 Official. This channel has been spreading a lot of misleading information and presenting these half-baked arguments as if there's some profound truth. So let's break down what's been said and see if any of it actually holds up. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. First up, there's this idea that dogs are mindlessly aggressive and that the mere fact they need training proves they're naturally violent. According to KN1 Official, if dogs need any kind of guidance, it must mean they're broken, dangerous, or defective. Let's just pause on that logic for a second. By that standard, I guess we should consider every single toddler a natural threat, because they need to be taught not to throw tantrums, bite, or grab things they shouldn't. Does that sound absurd? Good, because it is. All social beings need to learn how to behave in a social environment. Humans, dogs, horses, cats, it's all the same. Training isn't about fixing dogs, it's about teaching them how to live in a human-centric world, just like we teach kids not to scream in public or hit others. And let's not ignore the fact that training and socialization aren't unique to dogs. Knone keeps repeating that dogs are the only animals that need socialization to not be aggressive, which is just flat-out wrong. Take horses, for example. They need extensive training to be ridden safely. Cats, they're socialized too, especially if they're going to live peacefully with other pets. Ever seen a dog or cat that grew up without any human interaction? They can be skittish, scared, or even aggressive. Socialization is a common practice across many species, not just dogs. But I guess admitting that would ruin the whole "dogs are dangerous" narrative, wouldn't it? Speaking of narratives, one loves to say that dogs are literally designed to tear living beings apart because they have fangs and a carnivorous diet. Okay, let's dissect this one. Yes, dogs have sharp teeth, just like cats, ferrets, and a ton of other animals. But that doesn't automatically make them aggressive predators. Using that logic, should we be terrified of every cat or even a hamster? They have sharp teeth too. Oh, and by the way, dogs have been domesticated for over 15,000 years. During that time, they've evolved to work with humans, not against them. If dogs were truly these mindlessly aggressive creatures you're painting them as, we wouldn't have things like guide dogs, therapy dogs, and search and rescue dogs. Let me guess, those dogs don't count because they don't fit your fear-driven narrative, right? And here's a reality check. Studies show that serious dog attacks are rare. In the US, less than 0.5% of the dog population is involved in biting incidents each year. That's out of about 90 million dogs. Compare that to human violence. In 2022, there were over 16,000 murders in the US alone. Statistically, humans are far more violent than dogs. But I guess it's easier to demonize dogs than to admit that, huh? Knone also likes to argue that dogs are out of place in human settlements, and that people shouldn't have to deal with them because they're constantly invading people's space. Let's get real. Dogs have been living alongside humans for thousands of years. They've been bred to be companions, protectors, and helpers. That's why they're called man's best friend. To say that dogs don't belong in human society is like saying we should just erase thousands of years of evolution. Dogs aren't the problem, irresponsible owners are. It's funny how that little detail always gets left out of the conversation. And then there's the classic, dogs are naturally aggressive and must be specifically trained not to attack. This is just not how it works. If aggression were the default setting for dogs, training wouldn't even be effective. Yet millions of families have well-behaved, peaceful dogs living in their homes. If dogs were as violent as Knone claims, no amount of training would help. But here we are, with millions of dogs proving him wrong every single day. That's not just anecdotal, that's reality. Oh, and let's talk about the idea that dogs don't have rights, and they should never be able to attack humans. Sure, no one wants dogs attacking people. But guess what? No one wants humans attacking people either, yet here we are. If you provoke, abuse, or threaten a dog, it might react defensively. The same way any living being would. Trying to argue that this is proof of some kind of natural aggression is just dishonest. You want to talk about unprovoked attacks? Statistically, humans commit far more unprovoked acts of violence against each other every day than dogs do. But I guess it's easier to overlook that inconvenient truth when you're trying to push a narrative. And I really can't skip over this one. Dogs are bred from apex predators, so they're still naturally violent. Seriously? Yes, dogs share ancestors with wolves, but they've been domesticated for millennia. Evolution has shaped them to be sociable, cooperative, and responsive to humans. You don't see people running away from chihuahuas because they think they're going to act like wolves, do you? It's like saying house cats are as dangerous as lions just because they both have claws. Doesn't hold up, does it? Now let's move on to this claim that dogs are intrusive and always invade people's space. First of all, if a dog comes up to you, it's probably just curious or friendly. If a dog gets too close, a responsible owner steps in. But here's the thing, you're acting like dogs are out there plotting to invade your space and ruin your day. If you really want to talk about invasive behavior, let's look at humans. We're the ones who've pushed into just about every ecosystem on Earth, disrupting countless animal habitats. Yet somehow we're still the victims when a dog walks up to us on the sidewalk? Come on. And KN1's favorite line, there should be zero aggressive dogs. That's nice in theory, but let's get real for a minute. Aggression can be triggered by fear, pain, or mistreatment. Saying there should be zero aggressive dogs is like saying there should be zero aggressive humans. It sounds great, but it's not realistic. What matters is how we handle and prevent aggression, not pretending it can be completely eradicated. Dogs aren't aggressive by default. They're responsive to how they're treated, trained, and socialized. And if a dog becomes aggressive because it's been abused or neglected, that's on the humans, not the dog. One thing I've repeatedly asked Knone is, how do you determine the value of a dog's life, or any life for that matter? And guess what? He's never answered. Not once. Because he can't. He claims dogs' lives have no value, but he can't even explain what value means in this context. That's the problem. He's not making an argument based on logic or fact. He's just throwing around emotional statements that sound bold but mean nothing. If you can't define your own terms, how can you expect anyone to take your claims seriously? And here's the kicker. I've yet to see Knone back up his claims with any real statistics or studies. Maybe it's because he knows he can't, because the actual data doesn't support his extreme views. The studies show that with proper care, training, and socialization, dogs are overwhelmingly safe and loving companions. So maybe that's why Knone sticks to the same old fear-mongering claims, because the facts don't fit his narrative. If we're really going to talk about making society better, maybe we should start by understanding the facts, not demonizing an entire species based on fear and personal bias. Until then, KN1, I suggest you try learning a bit more about the animals you love to hate. Who knows, you might actually discover they're not the pests you think they are. But hey, that would mean admitting you're wrong, and given your track record of narcissism, I'm not exactly expecting that to happen anytime soon.